Happy Friday, readers. I love the way you've been reading up a storm. I have just one worry, though, and this is it. How are you going to remember all those great stories? I mean, you're reading so many of them. I'm worried that later you might look back at one of your books and think, I read this, but, I don't really remember it. Wouldn't that be the saddest thing in the world? If you were to read a book and then just forget it? Well, let's work to make sure that won't happen. I'm going to teach you a tip to help you remember your books. Today, I want to teach you that the best way to remember a book forever and ever is to tell someone else about it. After you read a great book, you can take it to a friend and say, can I tell you about this book? If you've marked some of the important parts, it will help you retell what happened. You know, it's really not very different from when you return from an adventure. You usually tell someone about it, right? And each time you tell about it, you remember your adventure a little better. And if you're lucky enough to have collected photographs from the trip, you can take them out and look through them as you retell all the things that happened. When you read a storybook, it's like you and the character are on an adventure together. In a story, the character does things and goes places, and you go too. You can't take photographs of a reading adventure, but you can leave post-its to mark the important parts. Then, when you retell the story, you can flip through the book just like you flip through a photo album, and the post-its can remind you of what happened. Yesterday, you finished reading Chester's Way. And today, I wanted to show you how you can mark the important parts in your book. So, remember Chester's Way. I remember that Chester and Wilson did everything together. So I want to mark that part. They were inseparable. Then the story changed when Lily arrived. And at first, the boys didn't like her at all. In fact, they were actually kind of rude. They said they were busy when she wanted to play, and then they always disguised their voices. That wasn't very nice of them, but they didn't know her yet. Then, remember when that big part happened, and those big boys came and were kind of bullying them around, and then Lily jumped out of the bushes in her disguise and she scared them away? That was one of my favorite parts. I'm gonna mark that part too. Then, after that, they ended up going to lunch at Lily's house and realized they have a whole bunch of stuff in common. They liked foods the same way, and they even had like similar cups and stuff in their house, even night lights. So cool. In the end, they became the best of friends, and it wasn't just Chester and Wilson, it was Lily too. They taught each other things, and they became amazing companions, and that's the way it was. Awesome. So now I have my post-it notes. You see how I use that to help me remember and retell the important parts of the story? So right now, I want you to take out a book that you've read recently, a reading adventure that you had not too long ago. Now, look back over the book to remember how it went. You can use your stack of post-its, or if you don't have a post-it, you can just fold the edge of the pages just a little bit. You can use your stack of post-its to mark the important things that happened. You'll only want to use about 5 post-its altogether, so don't waste them all at the beginning of the story. Let's add that strategy to our chart. So, boys and girls, I'm not feeling so worried anymore. I know you'll remember your books a whole lot easier now that you have this strategy. Remember, readers, when you return from your adventures, when you finish each book, you can go back and mark the most important pages and remember how the story went. That way, you can retell it to your friend and to yourself. Off you go.